Why, hello there, I'm Anxious Nick, and welcome back to another part of our Minomator tutorial series, where we're going to continue with Steve finding the huge block of diamonds out there in his yard. One thing I want to cover, though, that I think I may have missed last time that you want to do. It's really bad that I missed it, because this is something that I should have really covered. But it's a basic thing, like you probably figure it out on your own. But for the sake of being thorough, what you want to do when Steve picks up something, like you remember that we have to duplicate the object. So at that moment where that one appears, the one in his hand, which is right around here, what you're going to want to happen is, like I've created, like this is a stationary object. I haven't animated it all. But let's just say you have, or you don't want to go back to your original keyframe, then create two keyframes here. And you can make this one instant, but I don't think it matters. Anyway, on this point, like where the one in his hand becomes visible, you want to make this one become invisible. Oftentimes you'll have an object, that's clipping through the chest a little bit, but oftentimes you'll have an object that isn't in a chest, it's in plain view, and obviously having it stay there when he supposedly picks it up isn't how you want it. So what happens here is it disappears as soon as he picks it up. So that very same keyframe that this one becomes visible, the one in the chest becomes invisible. And that is how you would successfully do that and not be a nub-dub and completely forget to do that and it look weird. So I did a little bit of animating in the meantime to get Steve out the door. And what I wanted to show you here is a little trick that you can do. Now, this can serve multiple purposes. For instance, how we've had to move the position of the folder or Steve's relationship with the folder that we have him parented to. So, like, sometimes you may want to move it to get him to animate in a certain way. Or in this case, we don't really need him to walk to the door. Let's say we're going to have a camera angle change or something. So all you got to do is create two sets of keyframes here like I have, and this one is going to be set to instant. All these keyframes on this line are going to be set to instant, and then you put Steve where you want him to start back up, and then it'll just jump. And then that movement right there will be covered up by your camera angle change or your scene change or whatever the case may be. And then at this point, like right here on this line, you can have everything reset to be exactly where you want it to be. As you can see here, on this line, our folder is kind of flush with the Steve's back side here. And on this one, I have moved it to be more like in the middle of his body. So just little things like that, you can actually kind of reset things and get them where you need to using these instant transitions, and then just cover it up with, some smooth criminal camera work. But anyway, so what we have here is when he starts, like what I've animated is him coming out the door. So he just kind of flings the door open and comes out. Let's get rid of that selection so we can kind of see it a little better here. So you may notice one thing that I've done here to make this a little bit more realistic of an animation is Steve's a bit big for the door. So I kind of animated him to have a slight like tilt when he comes out, like, someone might do if they're too big for a doorway. He kind of churns and tilts his way out. It's not 100% perfect. His arm still clips through the door. Ideally, you would probably want the door to go open. You'd probably want the door to open inward, so that way he doesn't, you don't see that clipping right there of the arm. But the way I had it set up, I just went ahead and did it this way to make it easy for him to kind of fling the door open. So it depends on what you want. You can do whatever you want, but that's just, you can do different things. That's just an idea for you. What I did is I positioned the door here to go from this position to this position, and all I did was use this ease out and back keyframe transition. And that gives the door that little swing there, so it kind of is a realistic, like he flings it open and it kind of just goes back. It's not, 100%. It's kind of a cartoony move. You could finesse that manually with your own keyframes and like a linear transition to make it more realistic, but anyway, it's not too bad. And then we have just kind of a really basic plain walk cycle of Steve coming out, and he stops. So for here, what I wanted to do to keep this simple and moving and to show you guys some different tools you can use, I've been getting a lot of questions about the automatic walk cycle generator in Minimator, and I wanted to go ahead and cover that today, and that's what we'll use to get Steve over to the diamonds and show you guys how that works, because some people were having a little bit of trouble with it. So first thing we're going to do is go ahead and have Steve churn his head like this, and then maybe we'll give him a slight little bit of a body churn as well. Maybe tilt just a tad, because sometimes, people don't just move too rigidly. You don't want just his head moving, or just his body. And you don't want the body just to churn, kind of a tilt, as people might often do. Once again, this is all just choices and preferences. You can do it however you like, whatever the animation calls for. Just some ideas. So I'm going to do like that. He turns and looks, and it's, oh my God, what is that? It's diamonds, right? So we're going to give him like a little bit of a beat there, like for a moment of just staring. And what we're going to do is put 2 keyframes there. And let's go ahead and just line all this up with some keyframes. Like that. And at this point, maybe he would churn. Let's get him to something like this. Let's face it a little bit more. And we'll go ahead and bring his head back. Turn it just a tad. We don't want the body and the head to not correspond to the whole churn that we're doing here. So like that. I'm gonna go ahead and let this little, like his feet sliding, I'm gonna go ahead and let that go for now, for the sake of keeping the tutorial speedy. When we did the churn from the bed, I kind of showed an example of how to get his feet to move realistically. So for this one, we're gonna let it slide and just try to get things moving with what he's gonna do next. So what we're gonna do is have a little bit of a beat there, and let's just say, I don't know. We'll show both. Maybe we'll do the run and the walk, just to give a sample of how it all works. So I don't really know. Like, depending on whether it's a walk or a run, we may be going faster or slower. So we'll just start out here going about 50 keyframes. All right. So now that we've got these 2 keyframes made, I had a little bit of a brain fart there and had to recalibrate. So now that we've got these 2 keyframes, what we're going to do is take the second one and move it to where we want Steve to position himself. One thing that we have here is I didn't make him even with this, so he's kind of at an angle, as you can see. So instead of just moving him this way, we're going to move him a little bit like this and see if that kind of moves in the direction we want. Or maybe we'll actually do it like this. Let's kind of have him come back this way and give him a 90-degree turn. So that way maybe he'll kind of move from that angled position, and churn like that. That's not too bad. Maybe that's a little bit too much of a churn. Let's do like that. All right, so now that we've got him positioned, what we should be able to do, let's see if we select... All right, here we go. I think I finally figured out what my issue is here. Let's try it. So we've got those 2 keyframes with the folder. All right, now keep in mind, if you're using this folder trick, the folder isn't going to interact with the timeline the same way that a character will. So we're going to have to create 2 keyframes for our character. And as you can see down here, these options now open up. So now that I have 2 keyframes, and if you look at this, it says create a walking animation to the next keyframe. So with those 2 keyframes set up, I should be able to click this and it creates these keyframes down here. And there you go. Steve has a nice walking animation, and that's way too quick for that animation. So we're going to undo that, and let's try the running animation. Let's have that one selected. And as you can see, there's a lot more keyframes here. And that actually looks a lot better. He runs, and it works pretty well. I think we'll actually just stick with the run because, I mean, if you saw that many diamonds just right outside your house, you probably would run frantically to it. And that's what we're going to have Steve do. He's just going to run all the way over there and have that working out pretty well for him. But that's how you use the walking animation. If you're following my tutorial and you're using the folder, it's a big benefit. It gives you a lot of leeway when it comes to animating more advanced things, but it can create these issues. Like if you're trying to create the walk animation, you have to remember that you need to select your character and not your folder. That even tripped me up. So yeah. I generally don't use these automatic walking animations. This running animation actually looks pretty good. I think someone on the Minomator forums may have come up with this and David implemented it into the program. I don't know if I personally would use it, but if you're looking for an easy way to walk or run, then those are surely there, and there is no shame in using them. Now, one thing here I don't like is this slide that he does. He just kind of slides into position. I wonder if there is a way that we could finesse this in order to make it a little better. Maybe if we manually kind of brought some of these over. Let's try to copy that with Control C, Control V. Let's see how that looks. Oh, it's a little bit rough. Hang on. Okay, I see. Those aren't the keyframes we want. Let's see here. I just want to give it a little bit more of a transition. Like his right leg is kind of just straightening out, and I feel like he would probably be doing at least one more step to get to that position. So maybe if we copy these two here, let's try it. It may not be 100% perfect, but I think that actually looks a little better. Now, you don't have to copy the keyframes. That's actually just me trying to do it in the easiest and quickest way possible. If you want to animate your own, then that's just fine as well. And see, he comes up here and he kind of stops hard. So, what if we... Let's see. What if we came to this one? Let's make a keyframe right about there. And I don't know how this is going to mess up. It might mess up the way our animation looks, but let's just see what happens if we do that. Oh, that's a little bit rough. Let's, yeah, we do not like that. That's not going to work. So he comes up and does like that. And then, yeah, maybe we'll just, we'll get rid of this. And let's just have his body kind of do a thing here. Maybe if we make his body kind of bend a little bit, come back like this. We also want his head to straighten out at this point, I think. Yeah, something like that. All right, and then let's give it, where is it? Way down here. Give it that. Something like that. Let's see what that looks like. It looks a little better. Like he kind of bends, has it like he's like a bent over a little bit. Maybe we'll do it a little bit more. And then we'll actually give it an overall tilt, just a tad. Let's make this about 8. And this one about 3, just to give ourselves some, oh, no, not decimal, 3. Give ourselves some even numbers to work with. That's a little better. You could probably, obviously smooth that out even more, but that's the idea. that is the idea. And it kind of, I think that finesses it a bit and gives it a little bit more realistic look. So now that we've got Steve there, I think that works out pretty well. Let's go ahead and create our line of keyframes here, just in case we want to start over with any animations with the body. And what we're going to have happen here is a creeper shows up. So we're going to go ahead and come to our character thing and spawn in a creeper. And we're going to have the creeper, maybe he's way over here. Let's go ahead and, I think, the way it spawned him in, he's in line with Steve. I think that's a pretty good spawn. And let's go turn him around. Let's give that 180. And now he's facing Steve. And let's see here. All right. So he just stays there, and that's good. Let's give Steve a little bit of time with the diamonds, just in case we want to animate him mining or something. He's going to try to do some stuff. Let's bring this up to 600. And then at this point, maybe the creeper is going to try to go mess with Steve a bit. So let's come over to, let's try about 700. Put that there. And we select that keyframe. Now make sure it's selected, as in white. And we're going to try, let's see what the walking animation looks like. So it's a pretty basic creeper walk animation, if you can see that. All right, let's undo that real quick and see if the running animation for the creeper is any different. That's not too bad. Let's go with the walking animation though. What we're gonna do is go ahead and reselect the second one and have him walk on up to Steve. That's pretty close. Hang on, is he oh, he's a bit high. We gotta lower him down. So what we're gonna do is go ahead and select our two keyframes and bring the creeper down. I think about 48 is our level. I can't remember. Looks like that's doing it. And maybe he'll be a little bit closer. Creepers tend to, in the game, they like to walk right up to you and just stare you in the face. So let's do that. And we're going to go ahead and select our keyframe. Let's see how fast that is. It's not too bad, but I feel like maybe it was a bit too fast. We'll bring that up to something like that. Maybe we'll give him a transition here, such as, let's try this one. That's not too bad. I feel like it's a little off. Let's try this one. That's not too bad. We'll go with that one. Now that we have this still selected, we're going to try to program the walk animation. That's a little bit too fast still. I don't know if that's going to really be a problem. Let's extend this to about 750 and just see if that looks any better. That might have messed up our walk animation though. Might have to undo. Yeah, that messed it up a little bit. All right, let's undo that and undo that. Let's do this. And he's still walking. Hang on. Let's undo until okay, there we go. Get rid of those and bring this to 750. Select this, walk animation. All right, that was a little bit glitchy, but we'll go with that just for the sake of it. So that's how you use the walk animation. I don't know if every character has a walk animation built in. I haven't tested it myself, as I said, but that's how you use them. That's how you can get things going. I think what we're going to have happen, I might try to animate Steve to be trying to, he'll start mining this. And the next time we come back, I'm going to try to show you how to animate the creeper exploding. I want to show basically how you might replicate it in Minecraft. That's the idea that I have right now. So we're closing in on the end of this animation. Basically, what should happen, as far as the plan goes, is the creeper will come up and it'll blow up, and that'll be it. And the next part will deal with showing him doing that and maybe a little bit of particles. And then we're going to do the camera work, and that should conclude this and give you a pretty good full spectrum of the basics of Minomator. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I wanted to just go ahead and get this out of the way since a lot of you guys seem to be interested in how all this works. And we will resume with some actual like technical stuff next time. So let's go ahead and just get the camera in a good position here. Let's see, let's have the creeper out of view like this. And let's have Steve do his thing. He comes outside. He's like, oh, what is that? Oh my God! He runs over. He's just completely amazed. Now he just stares in amazement at this huge assembly of diamond ore. And oh God, here comes Mr. Creeper. And you'll have to stay tuned to next time to see what happens there. So I hope that was helpful. Wrap this up a little bit quicker than we've been doing, which I hope is a good thing. Hope you guys appreciate that. And yeah, that's good. We'll hopefully get into some more advanced stuff next time. Thanks for joining me. Hope it helped, and I'll see you in the next video.